My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Oh, for a moment, I say, oh, for a moment, I tell y'all that this is a time when, well, first of all, I want to show y'all a little sign I made. This is probably going to be the new tag on some of the dogs for the little wooden kennel thing I talked about. And I'd say, just to kind of go a little further, would just like to mention that there's going to be little work coming in here as we do this little finale to the series about the golden retrievers and dachshunds. I've done about all the carving I need to do in both of these. I've already drawn some pencil lines in which I'm going to put little features like their facial features, and we're going to use a rotary tool. And when you do the rotary tool, it's best to wear protective eyewear. Mask may not be necessary because you're not making too much dust, but little things could always fly out and hit your eyes by accident. So that's why I say eyewear. But we're going to take the rotary tool and I'm going to demonstrate something. You probably see this. I'm going to show you the bit that I use. I don't really know all the names for all the bits, but come on here, and I'd say that I always just kind of see something in them a lot, and this is kind of like the shape of the bit that I use when I make the eyes of dogs like this. If they require making big eyes, that's a good bit to use for them. And we'll go ahead, go right where the little dot is and make that little eye right there. And I forgot to plug this thing in, but I'd tell y'all that we're gonna go ahead, take care of that. Unfortunately, we have to unplug something else, and I need to sneeze. Sorry about that, but I tell y'all, allergies are getting bad, I say, and it's just that season, I say. And so now I'm going to come around and put the little holes in the places where the eyes will be to make this little retriever pup. There'll be a time later on when we're going to kind of make the eyes a little more evened out, and we're going to chip off that place where the bit kind of slipped. So I'd say finish a little work in there, kind of take care of little things like that. But I say that we can kind of, I'd say, like, remove that little patch of wood there. And when it comes down to it, I say make it so we can kind of put another little hole for another eye, and then kind of, I'd say, do the same to make this one too. And there might even be another bit in here we could take out and use just to make little noses on these retrievers. And so, come to think of it, there's a couple bits we have like this. There's one that's a little smaller and flatter I'd sometimes use, but it's going to have to turn up before I can use it. So I tell y'all that this is where we're going to go next. Make these little this is right about where we get the nose in place now. It might be a little crooked or uneven, so we can fix that a bit. And so we kind of got it, so it's probably about as good as we're going to get it. And this is where we got this other nose in, just in a good place for it to be. And so this is a moment when we're going to check and see whether this wood burner is on. We might have to unplug the rotary tool to plug the wood burner in, but that would actually be just fine. I'd say we hopefully have found the cord to the burner or the plug or whatever, and I say that this is just among these things where we're going to find out which pin of the burner is best. I think I found the best one here. This one that you kind of use to sign your name with or write with here, and kind of make it so we can just kind of go about the lines here to make out the mouth. And so I say just kind of how this will work. Come to think of it, just make it so it's going to be easy in line. I tell y'all that these little bit of whisker works shall see how puppies just make their ways over time unto us. And I tell y'all that this is just one little bit of work that is fancy in a way. There will probably come times we'll come back around and take care of other things like we usually do. In some videos I demonstrate how we do the little tags, and some I don't, the little things underneath that say I choose charity over bitterness with my name. I tell y'all that this is just one of those things where we're going to try to put in a couple little eyes on the Dachshund, except the dog is so small that the eyes can be rather small, and therefore we just use the wood burner. And the Dachshund here, I mean the carving of it, only has just a little line for the nose, so that is simple to make with the wood burner. And then just coming down to it, we make these little places for its mouth, and that's how they shall really come out for the better. I say this is what I've done, and we got one here that is of walnut. We're going to kind of burn in little places for the eyes on this little buddy too, and then kind of do the little nose the same way, and come down to where we finally do the little mouth, make the face out all good. And I tell you, I think these have been carved well enough that they might not even need to be sanded, because that's what Calvin Grant always said, is if you carve slowly enough, you won't have to sand it. And I'll tell you other little stories like that. It's kind of like what he told me about a few other things. Like, I mean, I've told you all before the story about the little time I had the accident on the bandsaw. Of course, he wasn't in my basement where I was when that happened, but he probably assumed I was going too fast, because that was what he said. He said I was going too fast, and that was how I kind of had that little accident with my thumb that time back in '08. And of all things, I say that this is just the kind of work that is just what we do. And even in my younger years, I tell you all, I used to drive so fast. In my late 20s, I did a lot, because after I turned 25, my insurance went down and started to feel a little bit more freer out on the road. And once or twice a cop came by and pulled me over. I even asked people, sometimes I just kind of didn't feel like my own prayers were enough, and I asked for other people to pray with me that God would help me with stuff like that. And even about that, you know, Calvin Grant kind of said the same thing, even about driving too fast sometimes, just all the little cautions you have to take about it. And I say that it was just kind of unbelievable how it kind of was on the roads, and the times that I've was in residential neighborhoods where 25 was the speed limit, and how a cop would pull me over and say you're going at least 40. So that was how it kind of was in those days, and how we just know what we do in life. And I say that these days I seem to control things a little bit better, try to keep things a little bit better controlled of myself. And I say just kind of with a little wood we remove here, it's going to be beautiful dogs. I say beautiful ways to work. And this time around, I mean, a video can come out a little longer with a little more talking and speaking, but I tell y'all that this is just kind of some work that can tell us a lot about who we are and what we do. And then again, just know what a little work and worry does for us. I mean, I tell y'all that it's kind of like how whenever I was doing that angel carving video where I was carving the walnut, and then kind of cut myself a little bit through the glove, and I'd say the next day, about 24 hours later, I was feeling kind of sick from all that I think might have just been from the walnut toxin, the juglone in it, and all the things they said it could do. It couldn't kill a human, but it could give you a tummy ache. And I say that, oh, little work is just kind of fine and dandy for us. I tell y'all that, oh, a lot of working does worries in life freak out to me. I say that there's just a lot of goodness in life that shall flow out of us and make us all see a godly perspective of things. And when we all come right down to what we have to do, when we do it, we're going to show that God is in control of all things. He made the heavens, made the earth, and made all the trees and all the little wood that these trees come from, that we carve all these little pieces out of. And so I appreciate the fact that you all come on here to watch me, to see my tips, to see my tricks, to see all I can do. I have to go to work in a little bit, so I just came on here to record this video quick, say a few things, show a few things, and this is kind of in the morning before my work hours, so wanted to come on, say a few things, and I appreciate the fact that you all come on to watch, taking care, and stay in touch always. All for the best, always. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.